Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Optimize Your Body podcast. Hope you're having a good week so far. I will be getting more guests on the show, so stay patient because I'm going to hunt down some new guests, right? So it's just me again today, right? And what I'm going to do is I want to cover I put up just put up some content together, and I think there's some topics that you get a lot of value from because I get a lot of questions on these things now. I'm going to get straight into it, my friend, right? As usual, no time wasted. I did a post the other day, ruffled a few feathers. And again, I think it's going to be helpful for you to get this perspective on. The title was Diets Work, You Don't, right? So you can imagine it pissed a few people off, right? But that's the reality. Now, the typical kind of person, right, when it comes to diets, because people say, I tried this, I tried that, I've tried keto, I've tried carnivore. And some people will say this, my friend, they'll say, it worked for me. Carnivore was great. It really, really worked for weight loss. Okay, but you didn't keep it off, right? Because obviously these people have reached out to me and you didn't keep the weight off, so it didn't work, right? But there's the other person then who says they've tried everything under the sun and nothing's working. I'm trying X, Y, and Z. And then let's just say, for example, I was to take this person on. It's happened many a times. What you realize is actually people underestimate the amount of food they eat by, I think it was 38%, right? So if people are not tracking, for example, their food, like counting calories, at least for a week or two, so they can see where they're at, they eat 40% more, right? So a lot of people say the diet wasn't working, but actually the diet did work. Like I just said then, right? You may have lost a bit of weight. So the diet worked. It stopped working because you stopped working, right? And yes, it wasn't sustainable. We can say all the stuff I normally say, but the reality is you took the wrong approach and the diet worked until it didn't work, right? So that's what I want people to be mindful of, right? Is when you look at, fat loss, for example, right? Let's just say it how it is, right? Some people listening to this might sound a bit harsh, but these are the kind of things I hear on calls is, I don't like what I see in the mirror. You may wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, I hate my body. Okay. Or I dislike certain parts of my body. If not, great. Because that's why I'm here. I'm here to promote self-love. And ultimately, we need to learn to love our bodies. I used to hate certain parts of my body, by the way, my friend, right? When I used to do bodybuilding and everything else. So I've been there, believe it or not. Or you might just jump on the scales and go, I'm fat, right? I want the weight to come down on the scales. I feel horrendous, right? And ultimately, I totally have compassion because I've coached a lot of people in that situation. And most of the time, they're lying to themselves. So again, a little bit of straight talk here. A lot of people do lie to themselves. They believe their own bullshit. And they say, great if you're taking ownership, though. By the way, if you're unhappy with your weight and everything else, and you're taking ownership and you're going, do you know what? I'm lazy and I'm not taking action on the things I should be doing, because most people know what they should be doing. I could say it in a million different ways, my friend, on this podcast, do X, Y, and Z. You know what to fucking do. You're not a dummy, right? But the question is, why are you not doing it? And a lot of people say it was the diet didn't work. Okay, it did work. But what happened was you got lax and sloppy. That's what happened. So you started following a diet and then it worked for a few weeks. And then you realize, fucking hell, this is hard. I can't stick to this. Before you know it, you might have a night out or you might have a weekend where you slip. And then you start slowly, and you lie to yourself as well. This is what I'm getting at. This type of person lies to themselves because they go, it was the diet, man. I was doing everything and it just didn't. No. What about all the snacks you were having, the mindless snacks? Because the average person actually eats 8 times a day. And they say they eat 3 times a day. That's the mad thing. I ate 3 meals a day when they got asked in a massive survey done on loads of people. I think it was thousands. And they said 3 times a day. They actually ate 8 times a day when they actually started tracking and monitoring and writing down what they were eating. It was 8 times a day. So look, most people eat mindlessly and they say, that no, you got lax. Let's just be honest. You started having snacks. You started loosening up what you were eating and you gradually got fatter, right? That's the reality. And that's one kind of person where they're completely lying to themselves. And I'm sorry if that's you, my friend. I'm not saying this from a bad place. I want to help you and I want you to be honest with yourself. And that's empowering when you just go, you know what? Deep down, you can make yourself feel better. We all do it at times, right? Where you say you're doing something, deep down you're not. And we all know, right? And don't lie to yourself. At the back of your mind, okay, actually, yeah, I was a little bit loose on the weekends. Actually, when I think about it now, I was bullshitting myself, right? So let's just say it how it is there. But then there's the other type of person, right? And quite frankly, this is the kind of person I like working with. And they also think the diet wasn't working. Now, on the flip side, going back to what I was saying then, it's the approach, right? So you got to take ownership as well, yes, because you're the one who decided to follow that type of diet. However, most diets are not sustainable. That's why diets don't work. And you don't want to, the second you're on a diet, you've already lost. It should be a lifestyle change. It should be a case of eating better quality foods and treating your body like someone you care about, right? Ultimately, I know it sounds cheesy, but that's what it is. It's about taking an approach of, okay, I'm going to do this instead of take this away, which is a diet, right? I'm going to restrict and pull stuff away, which I know I've failed at time and time again because humans don't work like that. Humans are rebellious. Try restricting things and it doesn't work like long term. It just doesn't. And I've been there because I've done bodybuilding comps, right? But next kind of person is the person I really like working with. And like I said to you before, ladies and gents, right? I help people generally fix their metabolism, or we can say it in a million different ways, fix their metabolism or simply develop their metabolism. So we can, because a lot of people have an underdeveloped metabolism is a better way to put it, where the metabolism is essentially adapted over the years of yo-yo dieting or doing too much cardio or both. And it's essentially adapted, which is going to be my next kind of topic. And it's became efficient with calories, et cetera, et cetera. So what's happened is they've actually, because I've had a lot of people come through the carnivore space, and they've actually eaten carnivore for a period of time, and it has actually stopped working. So they may have lost 20 pounds, but what they were doing before in terms of eating exactly the same way, carnivore, and they were, and I can tell generally when someone's lying and when someone's not, most of the time, not all the time. But then when I actually took these people on, I look at what they're eating. I'm like, oh shit, actually you are eating 100% strict carnivore. But what's happened is your metabolism has adapted to the amount of calories that you've been eating, which isn't a great deal of calories. Let's just say, for argument's sake, someone's eating, 1,500 calories, right? And they did that for a period of time, and it worked for, let's just say, for argument's sake, a month, and they lost 10 pounds, right? And then what happened is then their body adapted, and boom, they hit a plateau, and they stopped losing weight, stopped losing fat. And then what that person needs to do is they need to develop their metabolism, need to kickstart their metabolism and change their approach. Now, like I always say, diet is really quite similar to training. Like with my clients, generally every 4 weeks, we'll change up the training phase. So the training program and I put together, on average, I'll put together a 12-week program. Like I have, for each client, I'll put together like 15 months of programming together straight off the bat. Obviously, it looks different for everyone, and we tweak things and everything else. But each kind of training program has an intention, and that's 12 weeks. And within that 12 weeks, generally, each phase will be 4 weeks. So every 4 weeks, a change of training phase. Same as diet. If you don't throw a curveball, your metabolism is going to adapt, and you're going to get diminishing results. The same things happens with training. You want your body to adapt. That's why, for example, you're doing a training phase for 4 weeks. Okay, what's the intention here? Look, I'm doing low reps and I want to get strong and build muscle. Great. Let's get stronger, 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 stronger. Okay, you're doing the same exercises. Let's say you do 3 different workouts each week for 4 weeks. Bam, bam, bam. You get to the 3rd week, generally, your body's adapting. It's getting used to the movement. You're getting way stronger. 4th week, bang, you're going to hit your peak. You're going to hit some PBs. If you continue going past that, generally, you're going to get diminishing results. So that's what happens with diet. People's metabolism adapts. It slows down. Basically, so their maintenance calories have dropped as you lose weight as well. That's another thing. This is really important. As you lose weight, for example, this kind of person, they've lost, let's just say 10 pounds in a month, then their maintenance calories are actually lower. So their maintenance calories may have started off, let's just say, okay, this is more realistic. The maintenance calories, because most people have fucked up their metabolism, like I say, and basically the maintenance calories are like, let's just say 1,200. Follow carnivore, I'm just eating steak, and that's all I'm eating. I'm eating 800 calories a day, let's just say, right? Boom, they lose weight. Let's just say they just go extreme and they eat 1 meal a day and they eat a fucking steak each day, and that's it. Or, 800 grams of beef a day. That's what I'm doing. Let's just say someone's doing that, right? Boom, their maintenance calories are 1,200. They're eating 800 calories. That's a calorie deficit of 400 calories a day. But as they start losing weight, guess what happens? Their maintenance calories come down. Because when you lose weight, your metabolism adapts and it starts going into survival mode, right? So it goes, okay, we better adapt and get more efficient with calories because this motherfucker's starving me, or it's not feeding me. Okay, we're getting dumped on a desert. This is not what the body's thinking, but it's the same sort of thing as getting dumped on a desert island with minimal food. Okay, we better adapt and stop burning as many calories. And as you lose weight, your metabolism actually slows down. So then this person, let's say 4 weeks down the line, the maintenance calories are 1,200. They're eating 800 calories a day for a month. This is a very extreme version. Let's just say they were doing that, and then boom, their metabolism was dropped down to 800 calories, right? The maintenance calories, which means, guess what? They stop losing weight, right? So that's what happens. And that's my point of that message, right? The diets work, you don't. Either you don't and you're lying to yourself, or your metabolism is not working for you, it's working against you, because the approach you've taken is not working long term, right? Because that's what happens. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about is why cardio is making you fatter, my friend, right? I know I'm going straight for the jugular today. I know a few people have just tuned out of the podcast and probably unsubscribed. Be my guest. I don't care, because I know all of you listening right now are getting a ton of value from it, and you love the straight talk, and it's resonating with you, hopefully, or someone you know you can advise on this, right? Now, I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again because I always get pushed back on this. I had a viral video on TikTok on this, and cut a long story short, cardio sucks for fat loss, right? So if you're doing cardio and you're listening to this, and you're perfectly healthy, you're getting results, you let's say you want to look fit and lean, and you're fit and lean, and you feel great and your life's amazing, and you're doing some strength training, fantastic. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the person who thinks cardio is going to make them lose fat long term. The person who is extreme generally falls into this category. Oh shit, I got to lose loads of weight for a holiday. I'm going to go and do CrossFit, which is similar to cardio. I'm going to go, and no disrespect to anyone who does CrossFit, right? But it's based on intensity. It's intense. It's burning calories. I'm going to do cardio. I'm going to burn calories. I'm going to go hard. Bang. Okay. Going back to what I said. When you're doing cardio, the body gets smart. It gets efficient with calories. Better get efficient at burning calories, right? Sorry, we better get efficient with calories and hold on to fat eventually. Now, you might lose a bit of weight initially. And don't get me wrong, I've used this for a handful of clients. Hit cardio when done appropriately can work, because it's similar to strength training. It speeds your metabolism up because it requires strength if you do it properly. And also has a different effect on the metabolism to what most people do with cardio. And that's just running for long periods or sitting on a bike or whatever it is. And it can be good for fitness and everything else. And in fact, there is research to show, right? Cardio, I don't do any cardio other than volleyball, because my argument is that when you lift weights properly, and I've tracked this using heart rate monitors and everything else, my heart rate's up actually higher. My fitness is great from doing weights properly. I don't do jiu-jitsu anymore, but I think I mentioned this before. When I went to jiu-jitsu and I went rolling, I was fitter than everyone there because I just consistently lift weights and I do it properly. And some phases that I do are really intense, just like cardio, like what I'm doing now. I'm doing supersets, so you get a lot of the benefits. But the metabolism adapts, becomes more efficient with calories, slows down, and then you essentially can get fatter. And I've seen this happen with people where they've been doing a bunch of cardio and they've come to me and they're like, "Man, I've been doing like loads of cardio. I've been doing a little bit of weights, but mainly cardio. And I've just weighed myself and I've actually, listen to this, I've actually lost weight over the last month, but I've gained fat. Surely this is not right." And and when I ask them what they've been doing, they're like, "Right, I've been doing cardio 5 times a week and I've been lifting weights once or twice." And I'm like, that makes sense. Again, metabolism is adapted, is slowed down, which means you can get away with eating less calories, right? So, you might be eating the same, but you're doing loads of cardio, metabolism slows down, which means basically what were your maintenance calories before are now lower. So the same food you're eating is now a surplus of calories for you, right? Or it's maintenance calories. But another thing is then, this is a big thing, people are under eating protein at the same time. So that's a perfect recipe to get fat. Grossly under eat protein and do loads of cardio and watch what happens. You might lose weight on the scales initially, but this is what happened anyway. They pared down muscle. Not going to mention them. They pared down muscle and actually gained fat. When you pare down muscle, your metabolism slows down even more. You actually look worse and you get fatter, right? So that's what happened. Their weight had stayed the same, but they gained fat. They lost a tiny bit of muscle. They gained quite a bit of fat, and their weight actually went down a tiny bit because they lost muscle, right? But they actually got fatter. And that happens time and time again, right? So like I mentioned before, what you got to look at is, imagine you went to the gym. I've said this analogy millions of times, but I'm going to keep repeating myself till I'm blue in the face. Imagine you went to the gym, you did an hour of cardio, right? And you're on the treadmill for an hour. Let's just say that's about 5% of your day, right? You're burning calories. 5% of your day, you're burning calories, give or take, right? An hour, 24 hours, just to say give or take, you're burning calories for an hour of your day. You get on the treadmill, you get off the treadmill, you burn calories on the treadmill, but then when you get off the treadmill, you go about your day, you go to work, your body stops burning as many calories, right? So that's it. You burn calories for an hour of your day. Congratulations. That's 5% of your day. Go and lift weights for 45 minutes and you do it properly. Afterwards, your metabolism's elevated. Let's just say, for give or take, like it's really elevated and the protein synthesis is taking place, let's just say 12 hours after, 10 to 12 hours after, 10 to 12 hours after. So you go to the gym, bang, 12 hours after. That's half your day, 12 hours, right? 24 hours, 12 hours, 50% of your day. Your body's burning more calories. So you do the maths. You lift weight every day. And I've noticed this recently, ladies and gents. Right? I'm loving my training right now, and I've ramped things up. I've cut out cold water therapy because it was fucking running me down. I use the Aura to track my sleep, and I always overdo it. And I was paying a membership, and then I was using it just to get my money's worth, and I run myself into the ground. And I much prefer lifting weights. I feel better. And everything's just better when I lift weights, play my volleyball once or twice a week, get out in nature. There's only so much you can do in a day, ladies and gents, as well, right? It's like fucking hell. So long story short, I'm loving my training. What I've realized is like the effects on metabolism, and shout out again to Dr. Gabrielle Lyons. You want to go and check her out, ladies and gents. Dr. Gabrielle Lyons. She's a fucking wizard in the space of, she's a doctor, of course. All different, she's just a wizard in general, but especially when it comes to, skeletal muscle and longevity, right? So I'm not going to go too much into that because I get super passionate about it. I'm going to go off topic. But what I've noticed lately is I've actually been training more and eating more, and I've got lean. I look like a little bit leaner, right? Because I've switched up my training phase, going back to what I was doing, saying earlier. I'm training more, so I'm lifting weights an extra day a week. And then I realized, wow, I'm more hungry. I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to eat more, obviously good quality foods. And I've started training abs again as well, right? Which has helped because my abs look more prominent now because I'm already lean. And I've started looking better. And every single time I take this approach with clients, depending on the level they're at, right, let's do this. Let's eat a little bit more and let's train more. Let's do more strength training and add volume, right? And do it in a smart way. Bang, they always look better. They build muscle, metabolism speeds up a little bit. Sometimes they lose a little bit of fat as well. And that's what happens. So imagine that, right? Going back to what I was saying, 12 hours after training, your metabolism's supercharged, right? And then you're doing that every day. Every single day, 50%. You train for 45 minutes to an hour. And then for 50% of your day, your body's burning more calories, right? Imagine you're doing that pretty much every day. Your metabolism is constantly elevated. And that's where I'm at now as well. Well, I find it really hard to get enough food in. And it's a great problem to have. Cardio just doesn't have that effect, right? Simple as that. And just to give you an example, I've mentioned this before, but, on average, my clients, right, every 4 weeks, based on the, us being strategic with the calories and nutrition and the food quality, the quality of foods they're eating, excuse me, every 4 weeks or so, when we change up their training phase, training stimulus, what will happen is when we're on a building phase, right, we're trying to build muscle and rebuild their metabolism. Like I said earlier, I'll help a lot of people do that. Every, say, 4 weeks, we increase their calories by about 50 to 100 calories every 4 weeks on average, a day, by the way, right? And they actually build muscle and they look better. And they actually, for the first 3 months, lose fat simultaneously, a significant amount as well, depending on how much fat they've got to lose. So that just goes to show the whole pursuit of building muscle. Research will show like 1 pound of muscle will burn around about 6 to 13 pounds of 6 to 13 calories, basically, to have 1 pound of muscle on your body. But the research, and Gabrielle Lyons coming out with more of this now, is way more than that. So I've done the calculation, just way more than that. And you're going to see more research on this. Is the whole pursuit of building muscle. You have to have high protein, which makes your body burn more calories. You're lifting weights pretty much every day or doing some sort of strength training. So your metabolism's elevating and burning more calories. It's the whole pursuit of building muscle, which I think, really forces your metabolism to burn more calories. So all that being said, cardio can make you fatter, or it just sucks. And it's a terrible approach for sustainable fat loss. So real quick now, I'm going to wrap it up with steroids, right? Now, I get a lot of people ask me, am I on steroids? Have I ever taken steroids? Or they accuse me of being on steroids all the time. And I take it as an absolute compliment. I love it because that means you're saying I'm absolutely jacked. So thank you very much to all the haters. I don't even want to call you haters because that's love for me. You're giving me compliments on my physique. Fantastic. So thank you. But I just wanted to clear this up, right? Because people ask me all the time, you've never taken steroids. Wow, how do you look like that? Well, obviously 20 years of training and the way I live and everything else. But I'm not going to bore you with that now, ladies and gents. Long story short, I was tempted, right? I was tempted to take steroids when I was bodybuilding. I was close to doing it, full transparency, because I was competing against guys who essentially were taking steroids because it was a non-tested federation. So about 80% of the guys I was up against, they were on some sort of, anabolic performance enhancing drug. In other words, steroids of some sort. And I was tempted because I wanted to win, but I didn't do it. And I got into the top 10 in the world. There was like 40 people in the world championships. This is now like the best of the best in the world. And I got in the top 10 in the world. And basically, out of 40 people, and that was with no steroids, with about 80% of the guys taking gear. In fact, the guy who won was natural. Black dude, shout out to Williams Falade, I think his name was. Black dude, shredded, training for decades, looked absolutely insane. But long story short, I didn't do it because the psychological effects of that. Number one, I've got an addictive personality. I have done all sorts of stuff in my 20s. Like I mentioned this before, destructive behaviors, partying, binge eating with bodybuilding, all sorts of madness, right? And there's a lot of addiction in my family, which I'm not going to go into right now, but that is a story which would be here all day talking about. It would probably shock you, to be honest. However, it's not a sob story here. I'm just sharing with you that there's a lot of addiction in my family, a lot. And although steroids is technically, technically addictive, I guess it is addictive because I've seen, if I'd done it once, I know I would always be taking that shortcut then, you know what I mean? So that's why, thankfully, I, didn't do it. And I've never been, the only time I was tempted was when I was bodybuilding, right? At a high level. But I've never taken it, and I'm thankful I never have. And my testosterone levels, I had them checked recently, I had my bloods, and they were actually off the chart, literally. So I can't remember what the actual reading was now. It was like 29.5 was the highest amount. And no, I think it was like something like 6 to 25. Sorry, 6 to 29 was the range. And mine was like 29.5 or something. It was literally off the charts. And that's just from taking care of myself, right? But either way, I wanted to say as well, when it comes to steroids, just to be clear here, you don't just take steroids and look fucking amazing. Like I hate when people say that as well, because I know loads of people I've competed against, people I actually look up to, who've taken, like I had Mark Lobliner, right, on one of the previous podcasts, a couple of podcasts ago, and he's an IFBB pro top level bodybuilder. Like everyone takes steroids at that level, and the level to like that shouldn't be taking anything away from someone at that level, because they've had to grind. The dedication is next level, right? They have to grind so hard to get in that shape. You don't just take steroids and look amazing. You still have to put a hell of a lot of work in, right? Especially at that level, right? So like it's at that level, it's no different, like, because everyone's taking it, right? So yeah, that's another thing as well. Like, you don't just take steroids. Yes, no, don't get me wrong. Like if you take steroids, your body's like 24 hours anabolic, right? So you're sitting on the fucking couch and your body is anabolic, burning more calories in an anabolic state, right? Which essentially means in a muscle building state all the time, right? So yeah, you've got a benefit, of course, but you still have to eat good and take, sleep well and train consistently and stuff like that, right? So yeah, so that was just a little touch on that, just a little insight into my personal story and to answer some of those questions. So ladies and gents, I'm taking on a few people. I like to always just tell people on the podcast, because I only like to work with a certain type of person, to be honest. I'm going to be taking on a handful of people this month now after the scholarship filled up last year. I've got a few people booking in calls from the last podcast I mentioned, but we've got a few slots available. So if you're thinking about working with us, you simply fill out the form. I'm just going to change the form after this now, because the other form was so long. I know a lot of people fill it out, but bloody hell, it's long-winded, right? I'm going to just put a short form in there now, so you can just fill out the form. It'll be in the coaching inquiry form, will be in the show notes, I believe this. Also in the show notes, make sure you get your free metabolic fat burning kickstart guide, right? It's going to be in the show notes, right? Get that link, get that program. And also when you click that link, you put your email address in and you'll get my emails once or twice a week as well, and free resources and incredible content. Yeah, I'm going to hunt down tomorrow. I've got it in my diary to try and find some new guests, ladies and gents. Really appreciate your support. Please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Again, it's in the show notes. If you haven't, please do that, because that really helps a lot. In the show notes, go to Martin Silver Fitness, my YouTube channel, and please just subscribe. That'd be a massive help, because that can help us get bigger guests on then. Anyway, over and out, ladies and gents. Speak soon.